Hello, my sweet, sweet Cancers. This is Dr. Tarot with Take Charge Tarot. I am, firstly, so happy to have you here. This is our first instance of time together as I've just started this channel. This will be your reading for October 7th through the 14th. And the spread that I do is career, 3 for love, and 1 for your life path. Obviously, if I do a weekly reading, that life path is just kind of giving us kind of a temperature check. I was not going to use this deck, but I was like, nope, I'm using it with Cancer. I have a lot of love for you guys, Cancer, because I'm a Scorpio and very protective of Cancers. I know Cancers are protective of themselves via their shell, but I feel strongly that, y'all don't need protection. I'm just saying, I feel an affinity to you, so welcome again to this channel. All right, and this is this deck, which is interestingly sticking a little. It's called Tarot of the Divine. It was actually just released last month, I believe. It is beautiful. I can't recommend it enough. I'm pretty sure I have put the link in the description box down below. Yeah, this one's, it's a beauty. It's like, I mean, these cards are ridiculous, but let me get back to your reading, shall we? Okay. Interesting. I don't usually cut the cards that way, but I did. All right. So, okay. Interesting. Interesting. God, you guys have 3 major arcana out of 4 right now. Wow. Interesting. Okay, so you got some stuff happening. Let's see. I'm going to put your cards right here. Okay. So for career, we've got the Hierophant, and this card just keeps coming up. It came up for other signs in this same placement, by the way. So this is interesting. It makes sense that it would come up in career. And by the way, career is however you define that, whether it's the thing you do to make money for your home or make money to survive, or the thing that you do for fun, that you love to do, that you consider your path in terms of what you do. Whatever it is, you decide what this card applies to, okay? So the Hierophant is typically thought of as, it's the ancient, that's not the word, the more antiquated Rider-Waite imagery. It looks like a religious figure, and there are 2 congregants, if you will, facing the religious leader. And Hierophant is typically thought of as the structure often comes to mind, kind of like the standard of custom, or the keeper of customs. But I want to challenge our definition here a little bit. And I can't take credit for it because I have been turned on to an amazing teacher that I highly recommend. Also, we'll put that in the description box. By the name of, her name is Lindsay Mack, and she has a podcast and she's got classes. She's awesome. She's very interesting, and she's, So anyway, I'm glad I plugged her. But the definition that she offered, and I can't tell you how much it just resonates. Like, of course, Hierophant is very much about us deciding, taking customs, taking what the norms are, taking what the world views and the paradigms into which we were born, and really having a moment with them. Like, does that reflect my personal values? Is this true for me? Is this true for, is this true for me now? Is this serving me? And what I mean by that is sometimes our values, because they are outdated for us, they no longer serve us. They're actually, I'm using that word serve in a very, I'm being careful about it, because it's not like, oh, sure, if you value not lying and you're lying, I guess you can just change your values and say, I'll just value, I'll become kind of wishy-washy about the importance of not lying. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is something to the effect of, and this is in the career placement, so I'll use an example that relates to career. You were raised to, you had to be a doctor or a lawyer. Talking to you immigrant children, of which I am one. Or I should say like first generation Americans. That's it. You know, doctor or lawyer or something of that ilk. You were taught that you had to study hard, that was the career you had to choose, that that was just what you do. Like that your value as a human being is the extent to which you fulfill that destiny. And that can be totally cool and fine and perfect and lovely and a perfect happy path for many of us. So it's not that we necessarily release ourselves, or I'm thinking of like a big coat and just like throwing it off. It's not that we throw the shackles. I'm gonna put that down. It's not that we throw the shackles of our upbringing or socialization, whatever you want to call it. It's simply that we are now a human with a brain and a consciousness and some experience, and we now have the agency to say, is that me? Does that resonate, or does that speak to my soul? Is that really what I should be doing with my time? And those are questions that obviously I'm presenting the questions. I clearly would never have the answers. But that's all that is. It's really, in fact, great summary. Hierophant is the opportunity to question and or challenge and or accept, but question first. And when I say question, I mean interrogate, right? So it's not like, ooh, I'm questioning whether that's good or not. It's like, I'm questioning rather, is that me? Does that resonate with me as a human? And sometimes, like I said, sometimes it may be absolutely, I'm so glad they pushed me in that direction. That's exactly where I need to be. Others of us may be like, oh, I kind of like these other things. I want to keep that, but I want to do this too. And others of us, and these are obviously very, very vague examples. Others of us may be like, oh God, you know what? I have to stop doing this. I am going to backpack across America. I know that's kind of hard right now with the pandemic. But you know what I mean? So in other words, it's like stay with, alter slightly, or just completely break the shackles, or get oneself out of that situation. Another way this can look, and then I'll move on, is maybe I grew up in a family where the most I might, and again, no judgment, right? This is not about one is better than the other. They're simply different. They're equally important and valuable places to be in one's life. My family, my immediate family, all that they did was, labored. They were cleaning folks. We were a cleaning family, and then we started our cleaning business, and I worked for the family business, and my grandmother also was a domestic and cleaned, and we do it incredibly well. We're amazing at it. Our clientele is so happy with our work. And then you're kind of like, maybe you get into later into adulthood, maybe even young adulthood, and a person says, you know what if I really want to be a lawyer, and I want to go to college, and I want to become a lawyer. That's what Hierophant looks like, is questioning paradigms and questioning, just getting to what is authentically me. I'm pretty sure I've made my point. Okay, moving on to love here. Love's looking interesting. A lot of big karmic stuff happening. I'm talking to singles. I'm talking to marrieds. I'm talking to partnered. I'm talking to dating multiple people. I don't know what's happening. I almost feel like you're kind of you're completing some kind of cycle of feeling, you are either dating a whole lot of people, and it's so funny, Cancer. Actually, I'm looking at this. It's like, this doesn't feel very Cancerian, but who cares, right? We're not we're not stuck in one thing. And frankly, it's only your sun sign, unless you're here for your Venus and so forth. But basically, I love that it's like, okay, I've learned my lesson, I'm done. And then there's this growth coming out of the skull, which for me is death, but rather, death is always rebirth to me. So when I say death, I mean rebirth in the same breath. And you have essentially whatever sort of difficulties and burdens, and that's kind of what wands is, all this energy. And then it kind of starts to wear you down because you run out of it. And you're like, oh my God, how many wands can I hold, for God's sakes? Oh my God. And, but this is beautiful, right? Because this is saying, look at all this lush growth that has come out of the toil and the cycle. So you've come out of something. I don't know if it was some obnoxious, difficult relationship, or one of those relationships where it's like pushing and pulling, you know, either one person is in and then the other person's out, and then when the other person comes in, the other one's kind of out, and whatever, you know, the dynamics of human relations. But definitely, and if you're, and by the way, and if you're married or you're in a partner situation, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm talking to singles here. I don't think I'm talking to marrieds. Sorry, marrieds. I mean, you know, no, obviously, no judgment anywhere, but I think I'm talking to singles, so I'll just talk to singles. But what you have here, interestingly, though, is someone is, now I have kind of a different idea of Chariot, and this image of Chariot is very much, you have this this gentleman being actually, yeah, it is a gentleman. I mean, who cares, right? Gender's fluid here anyway, but so, okay, what am I trying to say? So Chariot is often thought of as like barreling through, right? I'm ready, I'm going. And it's not, that's not it. It's not so much about movement, right? It's more about, it's not called charioteer, it's called chariot. And the nature of the chariot is that we're catching this, we're catching the boat, if you will. And by the way, who uses fish to pull a boat, right? Just like the Sphinx in the Chariot card. How are those Sphinx pulling the chariot? They're not. This is resistance. So what this is I'm here. I have arrived, and what I'm getting is that there is someone's coming towards you, but I hate saying that because that's like, what does that even mean? But there is sort of kind of like love's coming for you. And it looks kind of valiant. It looks kind of, it's not moving at a fast pace, but it will definitely make you notice it. So be kind of on the lookout for that. So I hope that makes sense. So for example, that's not necessarily like someone coming right at you and getting on one knee and saying, oh my gosh, will you please come have coffee with me? It's you noticing someone, them noticing you. I'm just a for instance, by the way, this isn't necessarily, but I'm just to present this image more accurately. And what is important is that you notice them, and there is magnetism, right? And by the way, Cancer, this is your ruling, I mean, you're also with Moon, but Chariot is also ruled by Cancer. And it's kind of, I actually see you going toward them, but that doesn't matter. And again, gender roles here, I don't even play with gender because gender is fluid, and I mean that in the most like basic way, right? Lots of genders. And so it's almost as though you notice them and you're drawn to them. And even though they're not maybe moving towards you, they are absolutely ready for you. Like they are open. Body language is like, yes, come on over. and something, I don't know. I mean, this is part of the mystery, right? I can only see that far, and you'll have to maybe comment below and tell me in the coming week what went down. But, and it's major arcana, so we know it's something that's going to be significant. Is it good? It may not be the life partner of your dreams, or that's not important. What is important is that this is saying pay attention. This is saying it's significant. It does feel very positive to me, so that's always nice. And then there's this Hanged Man, and this for me is often if we are talking about another person, it's mutual energy. And Hanged Man or Hanged One, well, okay, Hanged Man is whatever. Hanged One, Hanged Man. She's very much she's meditating. Now, don't get it twisted. It's not like there's inactivity, nothing's happening. What's happening is Hangman is preparing for a rebirth, right? So death is the card that comes right after Hangman. And this is where change really happens, because we go within, we're sitting with, it doesn't mean like, oh, we're apart. It means that there's something about this that is going to force you into this place of karmic excavation, or not karmic. What do I want to say there? Let's see. Not karmic in the sense like you're getting yours, or, a karmic cause and effect situation. Just, it's a lesson. You're learning something. You're growing. It's all good. Like, just pull back for a minute. The love looks great. Okay, so just know that, Cancer, you're looking good this week. What it is, though, is that love is kind of seems like in the forefront a little bit. You got a lot going on, basically. I already said 3 out of 5 cards are major arcana. But this looks like what I'm getting from this card is you're both smitten. And I would bet if this other person or other entity, whomever, if they were getting their reading, they would be I don't know if they're a Cancer, of course. You're both kind of similar. You're having similar roles for each other. And it tells me that it is of fairly monumental proportion. Nothing crazy. There's no indication here like, oh my gosh, this is it. Soulmate's coming in, right? But there is an indication that this is something to pay attention to, and that it's positive. So that tells me, cool. I love a good mystery. Let's see what happens, right? Hopefully this is, we'll see. This is one of those, I'm curious to see how, I'm really curious for you all to write comments, because I want to see how this kind of pans out for the week. And then we have Soul Path. So this is a card of conflict and fighting each other, but it's really fighting ourselves. And my guess is that you're a little unfamiliar with kind of where you are right now. Big changes have happened. Big changes are kind of coming. Big things, just shifts. Even if like everything looks the same on the outside, even if you have the same residence and you have the same job and you have the same people around you, something within you has definitely, something has shifted. I don't know what it is. I mean, and it's definitely happened, I would say, past month, couple months. And you're not at the end of it, so I don't want to say that, because these major arcana cards are very much in the middle of the major arcana journey. But it's uncomfortable. You're not really loving it right now, And so just know that this is totally fine. This card is here. This card is here just to let you know that inner turmoil that you're feeling is totally normal. Nothing weird about it. Nothing, it's almost like expected. That's what I'm hearing. It's expected. So just know that if this is happening for you right now in terms of like and am I on my path? Where am I headed? Am I doing, all the things, any questions of that nature? You're exactly where you need to be. Okay? So that's your reading, Cancer. Always a pleasure. Please, if you liked this video, feel free to like it and definitely subscribe and join this small but growing family of Take Charge Tarot. Again, peace to you and talk to you next week.